A terrifying uveitis flare-up left me feeling desperate and hopeless after years of struggling, decades really, of struggling with autoimmune issues. This radical diet changed everything. So hi, I'm Allie. I am almost 50, and for 25 years of my life, I struggled with autoimmune illnesses, specifically Meniere's disease, then Graves' disease, and then lastly, as in my middle age, uveitis. By starting this radical carnivore diet in 90 days, I had lost 22 pounds. Inflammation had lessened considerably, and I took back my health for the first time in my life. So if you're struggling, stay with me, hit subscribe for more content. So when I was a young woman, when I was 23 years old, I had an episode of dizziness, disorientation, tinnitus, and fullness in my ear, and that led to my diagnosis of Meniere's disease. I went on to search for treatments over the next 16 years, and what I ended up doing was a labyrinthectomy, which is they drilled out my inner ear. That was in 2014. I was 38 by that time, and that left me completely deaf in my left ear and without a balance system. But it actually put me into remission for my Meniere's disease, and it gave me a quality of life back. So that happened when I was 23. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness that there is no cure for, there is no cause. It could be inflammatory, it could be autoimmune. When I was 30 years old, so 7 years later, when I was 30, I experienced some fertility issues and some weird symptoms, hormonal changes like hot flashes. My hands would get really hot, and my feet would get really hot, and my heart would race. So I went to see my doctor, and she explained that I had something called Graves' disease, which is autoimmune thyroid illness that is hyperthyroid. It's not as common, you don't hear about it as often. The treatment was medication that would destroy the function of my thyroid. I did it, and I'm very happy and very fortunate to have two daughters who are growing up before my very eyes. Fast forward to 2023, and I'd had some trouble with uveitis, and I'd gained weight, and I just chalked it up to being middle-aged, and everybody around me was suffering with the same issues. Around 2019, when I was about 45, I started having inflammation in my eye. It's called uveitis. Again, no known cause. They did test me for I had like 20 different lab tests. Nothing showed of what the cause was. This is the third time in my life that I have gotten a diagnosis of, no known cause, idiopathic, whatever. They think maybe it was, like a shingles type thing. My body is no stranger to viral infections. I've had mono, I had meningitis, I have Meniere's, I have had strep, virus, chicken pox. I've had it all. I was, at that time, at 45 years old, I was about 50 pounds overweight. I had really high anxiety. My uveitis, the first episode I had that just came on like that. It is excruciating pain and blurred vision, and I had no idea what was going on, and it was scary. I just felt like I was running out of options. In January of 2023, I was eating healthy foods. It was in the middle of January. I was trying to lose weight, and it was always a New Year resolution. I was eating all these healthy things, and something I ate gave me a flare. I thought this time maybe I would go blind, and I'm already deaf, and it was my left eye. This is the weak side. And I just thought, I cannot go through this again. I can't believe this is happening. Why? I did have some moments of pity. Why do these things happen to me, is how I felt. So the next morning, after taking a couple, Benadryls, then I was scared and I was terrified, and I thought I'll try something radical and extreme. I started scouring the internet, specifically YouTube, for autoimmune diets, extreme, elimination diets, detox diets. I heard Mikhaila Peterson. I must have watched one of her videos, or she came up in my feed, and her autoimmune recovery gave me a glimmer of hope. And I thought, well, what do I have to lose? I was willing to do anything because it sounded crazy. I thought, well, I thought nobody can live this way. How's this going to be sustainable? What's this going to do to my health? I had a lot of skepticism, but I was desperate and I was pretty hopeless. I was determined, I was determined to see if this could help. And what happened next shocked me. There's no one more surprised than me. I did the lion diet for 2 weeks. In those first 2 weeks, I lost 10 pounds. My inflammation lessened enough that I could tell. My skin was itchy. I was having a lot of itchiness. That reduced. My bloating had reduced. My inflammation had reduced. My wrists, my wrists were always inflamed, and the inflammation, I could see a difference the first time since I was a teenager. I noticed my wrists were less inflamed. I lost 10 pounds. That was in the first 2 weeks. Was it water weight? Yes. Did I care? No. After years of fear and depending on specialists and getting in the appointments and sitting in the waiting rooms, I've literally sat for 4 hours in a waiting room to see the specialist for my eye. My eye, that inflammation went away. In the first 2 weeks, the urge to drink wine was gone. I hadn't even thought about it. That is incredible. My body was calming down. It spurred me to keep going. After 2 weeks on the lion diet, because it is hard to do the lion diet, I did incorporate, so I did beef, butter, eggs. I never gave up coffee, even in the first 2 weeks, because it was a radical shift. Lion diet is very, very difficult. And I shifted straight from a, standard American diet or eating seeds and nut, I was trying to be very healthy and eat the rainbow and eating all kinds of ingredients. And I did suffer with some oxalate dumping, which is itchiness. That's a whole thing. So after that 2 weeks, I shifted into, like I said, beef, butter, eggs, and that really helped. After another 2 weeks, after 30 days total, I was down another 2 pounds. I had more energy and less anxiety. I decided to go for another, 60 days. So I did 90 days as a challenge. After 90 days, I had lost 22 pounds. I've never lost 22 pounds, ever. Trying everything my whole life. I had never lost 22 pounds and kept it off. I'd never lost 22 pounds, period. My autoimmune issues were continuing to fade. I was feeling more mental clarity for the first time in over 10 years. I was, my anxiety, my intrusive thoughts had calmed down, and that was something. So I was able to fall asleep without thinking about the most irrational dangers that might happen hypothetically. That was worth it. After 90 days, I did decide to reintroduce bacon. I was a little nervous, but I was ready for some variety. I had missed bacon. I was very excited for that. After that, shortly after that, I did reintroduce dairy, cheese, heavy cream, cream cheese. I did it slowly just to see how I would react, and I did fine. Most importantly, the uveitis had calmed down, and that was one of the best benefits. The mental health, they're all such great benefits that it's hard to rank them, but my uveitis flare had calmed down. This extreme diet was about survival for me. It was about coping, and it taught me a lot. It taught me about, changing what I was eating, that maybe what I was eating was making me sick. It taught me that I had, I had agency over myself, that I could try, eating different foods, eliminating foods, and only eating restricting foods to not eating junk food, not eating sugar, how much that could improve my overall health, and that all of these things were connected. It wasn't just siloed. Oh, you have mental health issues. Oh, you have this. It's all connected. It's all related. One thing about food, and if you change it, you get immediate feedback. You don't have to get anybody else's opinion. You can tell how it feels. If something doesn't agree with you, you know it. But I would say do a lot of research and do your own research. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm just sharing what helped me and what worked for me. And, everybody's results are different, but it certainly helped to, reduce my inflammation and reduce my reactivity to different things and improved my health, even in a short period of time. If you were suffering with something very scary, like vision, uveitis, anything that I've described, you know that you are willing to do just about anything. There is, there's a social aspect to it that was challenging to get past. But anybody that knows me and knows how much I've suffered with chronic illness, autoimmune specific illnesses, was not going to be like, oh, that's too crazy for you. They're like, yeah, that lady's had a lot, she does need to do something extreme. Cravings for alcohol went away very quickly. It did take a good at least 90 days not to have, for the sugar cravings to ease. It does ease. I rarely have any cravings for any kind of food. That's something else that healed, was my feeling of food freedom, that I was not captive to emotional eating anymore. My blood sugar, I wasn't having high spikes and lows and, blood sugar crashes, and I just kind of got chill and stable. My family is very glad. The way I stayed committed was I was feeling better than I had in so many years that it just kept me going. It kept me going. And a lot of people say this, nothing feels as good as being healthy, especially if you have suffered with illness for any amount of time. I just never wanted to feel that bad again, that depressed, that in pain from my eye. They think it was shingles, like shingles based. It was horrible. If you are scared and you feel like you're out of options, this might just be the thing that you can try. You can take it at your own pace. You can do it the way you want. If you are somebody that has Meniere's disease, I feel for you. I have it's hard. It's tough. Okay, that passed quickly. The tears passed quickly. But I urge you to continue to explore your options. And I would also encourage you to watch Dave's channel. It's Meniere's Disease Warrior. He is on YouTube. I found Dave last summer because he's the only other person I knew that had Meniere's disease and had a labyrinthectomy. So he has a channel. He puts out content, I think, almost every day. He's great. He's kind. He's very kind. I suggest go watch his channel. Working on a video for Meniere's disease, I've changed my mind about something, and I was wrong about something. And so be watching for that video in the next couple of days. I'm gonna release that probably in 2 or 3 days. What you can do is you can just start with 2 weeks like I did. 2 weeks. See how your body responds. If you are in a crisis moment like I was, there's pros and cons to going full bore the way I did. I'm an abstainer. I am an all or nothing person, so that really spoke to me. And I just pushed through. But you don't have to do that. But you can try, maybe you're just kind of like, oh, this is, I'm maintaining. So just maybe eliminate sugar and carbs and see how you respond. Incorporate butter, animal fats, animal foods. Just start bumping them up. That might help you. Just to recap, what started out as a terrifying uveitis flare that scared me into doing this radical diet. In the first 3 months, I lost 22 pounds and my inflammation got better, my mental health got better. Now it's been over 2 years and I'm still eating this way. This radical diet gave me my life back. And now I enjoy sharing my experience and telling you everything about my medical history. It's part of my purpose, and I like to share my experience as an ordinary woman that did an extraordinary thing. If you are having a health scare and you are feeling hopeless and desperate, don't give up. Just give it one more try. Your solution, your improvement might be just one step away. Let me know in the comments what you're struggling with. Have you heard of Meniere's disease? Have you heard of uveitis? Tell me about your experience. I really do. I read all the comments. I love the comments. And I'll be praying for you if you have Meniere's. Or if you have any struggles, I'll be praying for you. Thank you so much for watching. All right, bye.